Hello, I'm South Carolina State Fire Marshal Jonathan Jones, and I want to send a special congratulations to the House Springs Fire Department on 50 years of service to your citizens. House Springs Fire Department has always been a progressive leader in the South Carolina Fire Service. And my experience with House Springs goes all the way back to my time as a volunteer with the Clarendon County Fire Department, and later as my time as the training officer at South Lynch's Fire Department, where during that time I developed a relationship with your now Chief Billy Dillon, who also served as a training officer at the time, and who we both participated together on the Florence County Training Officers Association. You can't help but attribute 50 years of success to progressive leadership, but also progressive members. And so the secret, I think, to House Springs' success has been dedicated members, mostly volunteer, who've given of their time to make House Springs Fire Department so successful. So again, congratulations and happy 50th anniversary.
House Springs Fire Department, House Springs Fire Department, Station 1.
You ready? Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Go ahead, 143.
One on top of the street, let me bring them out the Bravo side, Bravo side.
Copy, 145, meet at the Bravo side. 145, meet the Bravo side. I'll advise EMS.
10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
House Springs was beginning their department in the early 70s, and I can remember riding over on Saturday and Sunday afternoons to a location on House Springs Road where a group of men had obtained an old fire truck, had a shed with a green tarp over it, and they were in the very beginning of, we're going to do something about the loss of property and lives in the greater area south of Florence. At the time, County Council did not have the responsibility to create fire districts. The state delegation did. And our House member got together with the House Springs delegate, King Anderson, and they formulated a plan to create a fire district in Florence County and to fund it with tax money and to give better support. And we worked very closely with the House Springs group to do what was a major first step, is move from fundraising to tax supported so we could afford new equipment, better training, and fire stations and the things that we were totally lacking.
House Springs Fire Department, House Springs Fire Department, Station 2, Station 4, Engine 712. Respond to 4101 Willow Creek Road. Report obstruction fire. Smoke and flames are visible.
H113, respond. H141, right, Station 2. H1185, respond, Station 1. HPP2 responding. Engine 721 responding, 2-man crew. Sector 198, we have a single-story, single-family dwelling, very heavily involved. I'll be doing a 360. H178, respond. H148, respond. 711, responding, 4-man crew. H1, respond. Dispatch, we got 2 crews in the house working. Did have heavy fire involvement. I believe everybody's out. Primary search being conducted. Dispatch, Willow Creek Road, come in.
Go ahead.
Give us control time. Be on scene another 45 minutes to an hour mopping up.
I was introduced to House Springs almost immediately when I started working for the county back in the late 80s. Most of our interaction with the fire departments at that time was at wreck scenes and at structure fires. There was not an established emergency medical responder program at that time, but the people at EMS, myself included, have always known that if we needed help, whether it was a EMR call or not, all we have to do is call, and the women and men of House Springs Fire come as quickly as they can. The establishment of the emergency medical responder program in the county developed, as most things do, out of need. It was taking the ambulances too long to get there. And the firefighters realized that, and they were willing to get the training they needed. The chiefs and the board members of the fire departments were willing to spend the money and buy the equipment that they needed. The folks at Dispatch and the Fire Chiefs Association were willing to make the changes necessary to implement a very well-structured and consistent and reliable way of getting emergency medical responders from House Springs Fire to scenes where they were needed. The fire department is older than EMS. We've been in existence since 1976, and the fire department's been here since 1970. But what I can say is that for the last 44 years, we at EMS have certainly enjoyed a great relationship with House Springs Fire. We've done a lot of good for the community, and we've saved a lot of lives.
Florence County 911, what's the address for emergency?
Yes, Florence. There's a house on fire on the Patrico Highway. We don't know whether anybody in it. We see cars in the yard.
Okay, do you know what the numerical is, or what it's close to?
It's on the Crossing Road, right in the front of Carriage Place on Crossing Road. My husband and someone is knocking on the door to see if somebody's in there, but there's a car in the yard.
Do you see flames or smoke, or both?
Pardon me?
Do you see flames or smoke?
It's the whole top. It's spreading really, really fast. They need to hurry because we don't know if anybody's in this house. There's a car in the yard, but we don't know if anybody is in the house.
Do not take oncoming traffic till it is shut down.
Buell Baggett stood out as the one we worked with the most, and he was very aggressive, very committed, but all of the members were that World War II generation that had an absolute dedication to community, to make life better, to make places safer for their families and for the places where they work.
I think the first member of House Springs Fire Department that I ever met was Brian Headinghouse, who was a co-worker of mine then as he remains today. We were both EMTs working to be paramedics, and Brian worked his way up in the department to be the assistant chief at one time.
Every collision I respond to with you guys, that there's nothing I have to worry about. It's just more notable as far as the professionalism and the teamwork you guys display. And the command leadership, you guys are always on point.
But probably the biggest presence and the person that I associate most with House Springs was Chief Liner. He has this domineering presence and really good leader, really good man. And the department, the community, very fortunate to have Chief Liner under his leadership, and Chief Dillon now. I've worked with him for many years at EMS, and his role as the chief here at House Springs Fires.
But it just seems like you guys have a pretty devoted following of membership. You guys are pretty squared away and enthusiastic, and it can be 20 degrees and ice, and you guys, you know, are always in a good mood. You guys are always willing to work with me. It's like I'm humbled because I know how instant command works. You know, like law enforcement, we ain't in charge. You know, it's y'all's scene. And I always feel respected when this Chief Bennett or, you know, Chief Dillon or you, Captain, y'all come up to me and say, hey, can I do anything for you? And that seems to be every scene I've ever worked. And that stands out above anything else.
Happy 45th anniversary to all you yellow fire truck driving firefighters at House Springs. It's been an absolutely amazing year full of accomplishments. This year we were able to build an SCBA maze that'll test the confidence of just about any firefighter out there. This thing's a 2-story, 16-obstacle maze that fits in an entire Connex box. Our truck committee was able to spec out 3 brand new engines, and thanks to County Council, that purchase got approved this month. Our building committee was able to complete the plans for the new headquarters station of over 16,000 square feet, and that contract was signed just this week. We were able to provide an around-the-clock rescue team for 28 days straight for the paper mill's annual shutdown. Now the safety guys didn't want us taking too many pictures while we were there, but I wanted to show you this one. Because safety is important no matter where you are. You never know when that refrigerator is going to jump out and bite you. And for the first time in our 45-year history, we were able to purchase a ladder truck. Yeah, a ladder truck. Check it out.
House Springs had advanced substantially in the area of rural water supply and the area of new equipment. They'd obtained all of their lime yellow C8000 Ford pumpers and really making substantial progress, and had out on Willow Creek Road the old salvage shop burning, and they called for help from everybody around. My vivid memories there were Earl Liner, the new trucks, the ability to lay hose to a nearby farm pond, the ability to work together.
I think we have to focus on the history of the fire service, the history of EMS, and have an appreciation for that, but obviously we can't live in the past, we have to push forward. And while past performance is indicative of future performance, that tells me that we're in good hands, because the women and men of House Springs Fire and Florence County EMS have a strong history of performing well in the past, and there's no indication that we're going to do anything other than thrive and push forward. The leadership here is good, people are plugged in, people are in tune, and people are here for the right reasons. They're here to serve, and they're here to do what the community needs, and I think that's what I admire most about House Springs Fire.
50 years ago when we were created, we were primarily concerned about residential structures, mobile homes, and tobacco barns. 50 years fast forward, Florence is more than twice the size it was. We have industry, and a big substantial change in the way we deliver service is first responder and auto extrication. I can say that House Springs was always in the forefront of getting into the extrication, getting into first responder, being proactive, being responsive to what the trends were. House Springs has been a leader. The reason they've been a leader is because of the quality individuals that have always been associated with this department.
Hey, this boy's still with the grizzly fire. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on, boy. Don't be scared of the fire.
I'll take it in, but don't look down. 'Cause I'm on top of the world, eh? I'm on top of the world, eh? We've done this for a while now. Paying my dues to the dirt. I've been waiting to slide, eh? Been holding it in for a while, eh? Take you with me if I can. Been dreaming of this since a child.
I'd just like to thank the women and men of House Springs Fire for 50 years of service to the community and encourage you to push on and keep up the good work.
On behalf of Florence County Emergency Management and Florence County 911, we would like to wish House Springs Fire Department a very happy 50th anniversary. We appreciate everything that you do for the community and everything that you do for dispatch. Thank you so much for all the wonderful gifts that you have given us over the years.
Happy 50th anniversary, House Springs Fire Department.